All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Welcome in, everybody. So, Bitcoin has continued to kind of slowly grind to the upside throughout the day here. Too much to update on Bitcoin. Yesterday in the video, if you guys watched that video, I did post some local TA followed by some more macro analysis on Bitcoin and on the total market cap. But really, we are seeing a small bounce on Bitcoin and some of the altcoins today. This is to be expected after such a big drop. But I do want to give some warning signs here about this push up that we are seeing. It is relatively on low volume. So if we come in here and we turn on our volume here, you can see that it is on relatively low volume. Yes, we are seeing a spike right now in this last hour or so. We're seeing a little bit of a spike in volume. But the two areas of resistance that I talked about yesterday for Bitcoin, if it's going to make a slow, low volume rise to the upside, kind of grinding its way up and see a lower high before continuing the momentum to the downside, then the first area of resistance was this golden pocket pulled from last weekend's highs down to pretty much this weekend's lows, and that golden pocket is in confluence with the break of our range, the value area low. It's the bearish backtest of the value area low of the range. But I want to give one little alternative level of resistance that's coming in a little bit before that. So if we take this range that we have here and we just bring it all the way to present day price action, you can see that it does drop the value area low a little bit here on the charts. And we're going to take this Fibonacci retracement. Instead of putting it to last weekend's highs, we're going to put it to the high right before the dump happened, right before the range broke to the downside. And you can see that this golden pocket is coming in confluence with our current value area low. If we include the breakdown that happened over the Friday and over the weekend, then you can see coming up here relatively quickly at about 116.2 to 116.4, we do have our current value area low of this range in confluence with the golden pocket of pretty much just the last move down, that last kind of impulsive price action to the downside. So this area here will be an area I will be looking at. Of course, I do like the volume profile pull better of our previous. Let's just back this up a little bit of our previous range here. Oh, there we go. Of the range before it broke down and our larger golden pocket pull, because this larger golden pocket pull to me is a little bit more important because it was the last time we tested our value area high. And when we reject from the value area high, we can expect that rotation down to the value area low. We got that rotation down to the value area low, saw a bounce, but made another lower high, and then we dumped and broke the range to the downside. So to me, in some ways, this range has been broken to the downside. We could look at starting a separate lower range in this general area, and this might be something that might be occurring and developing if we do come up and reject from this area, or even reject from that golden pocket at 116.2. We can look at a lower range forming, and then eventually, if we push back up into the range, we can combine the ranges into one larger range. So I just wanted to give that as an area of note because it's technically the last golden pocket from our last drop down, and that value area low is shifted down a little bit too if we include the price action of the drop that happened over the weekend and the little bit of a retrace that we're seeing today, the little bit pump retrace that we're seeing today. I will be paying attention to this. Like, actually, I'll go ahead and set an alert right near this level right now, see how it reacts there. The way this is pushing up, yes, Bitcoin could break through this and we could break back into the volume profile. It's just not looking the most convincing for me yet. Money flow has started curving to the upside pretty nicely here on the 2-hour chart. Our 2-hour bull divs are kicking in. You can see these higher lows in the price, higher lows in the momentum waves, lower lows in the price action. So we had the bull divs. The money flow bottomed out shortly after that, and now money flow is curving to the upside. But you can see here in the past, we're starting to stall out. And if we zoom in on this money flow, let's just pull this up a little bit bigger. You can see money flow starting to try to curve over and drop to the downside again. I do think we can at least get a little bit higher to 116.2 before seeing that complete reversal of money flow. And also, if we look on NAMI, and NAMI is a bit quicker than Market Cipher B in showing bear divs and showing momentum bear divs and money flow. You can see that NAMI has just printed a bear div on the 2-hour. We can see the local higher highs in the price action and the lower highs in the momentum waves. So NAMI is starting to print that 2-hour bear div, and Market Cipher B is starting to look like money flow is wanting to start to dribble back out again. If we zoom out to the 4-hour chart, money flow has crossed over back into the green, which is a good sign. And yes, we were, of course, just like with Bitcoin or Market Cipher B, excuse me, we saw these very slight kind of wonky 4-hour bull divs as we were coming down into the lows. And NAMI was showing a much better, the bull divs that we were coming down into the lows here. That's what is allowing us to give us our push up. And also we did hit into that key pitchfork support. If we turn on that pitchfork, you can see that we hit into the lower band of the pitchfork. We have reclaimed that band now, getting above the band. So really there's nothing stopping us from coming up at least to 116.2K. That's why I do think this grind might continue here, a slow, low volume grind, at least to 116.2, if not to our larger golden pocket of last weekend's highs to this weekend's lows at about 116.8 to 117K. So looking at both of those levels, yes, I know those levels are very close by. Pretty much we can look at it as kind of one area of resistance. What we want to see is a definitive reclaim of the value area low of the range. Now, yes, I do think the range pull is better when you do not include the dump that we saw Friday and over the weekend. So that makes that 117K area a little bit better. But we will just kind of look at this as we're going up there. We will look for low time frame bear divs as we're coming up into these two areas. And if we see that and start to roll over, then we might expect this is going to be another lower high before putting in another lower low. We did front run that VWAP that is about 111.3K. And I do think if we do come down the SFP into the anchored VWAP, that is our previous all-time highs anchored VWAP. And so I explained this in yesterday's video, but it is pretty important if you want to maintain some bullish strength for Bitcoin. After breaking above that anchored VWAP, you can see we did have an immediate low time frame backtest, and that's when we got that nice big impulse to the upside when we flipped it to support. Now we're coming in for a higher time frame backtest of that anchored VWAP. And if we want to really maintain bullish strength on Bitcoin, it would be nice to stay above the volume weighted average price from the last all-time high. If we start to lose that anchored VWAP, then we could see much bigger drops to the downside. And if we go ahead and come in onto our larger pitchfork, we might even drop to the midline that is about 105K, 104, 105K. But before that, we do have our major, if we go back onto the Coinbase chart, our major point, our value area high of our macro range. So let's just pull this macro range. Let me zoom out onto the daily chart. And this is a level of interest I absolutely will be looking for potential long opportunities, because this has been our range for the entire year of 2025. You can see that value area high of that range is coming in about 108K, 108.2K. And so anytime you break out of a macro volume profile like this, you maintain some price action and even see some impulsive price action outside of the volume profile. If you do see a retrace and you're wanting to make an overall higher low, then that value area high should hold as support now. What used to be considered overvalued for the first 6 months of 2025 now will be considered a flip to support and will be considered undervalued or a buying opportunity. If Bitcoin is going to maintain its bullish momentum, then we should see some buyers step in at that area. And then if we don't hold that as support, then yeah, drop to the next anchor VWAP. I mean, we could look at a couple other levels. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. Let's do 3-hour chart. Let me go ahead and hide some things here, clean up the chart. So yeah, you can see that macro value area high is coming in around the bottom of the pitchfork. Now, I understand in order to have some confluence with that value area high, we would have to make a pretty quick dump down there. But I do think that that will be possible if we do reject and confirm bearish momentum, rejecting from this value area low here, then we could see that pretty harsh drop to the downside, coming all the way down to 109K, 108.2. Let's see. Yeah, it's about 108K, 108 to 108.2K. and we might come to the bottom of the pitchfork. And then, of course, if we lose this bullish pitchfork, then we can look at the next levels down below. Let's pull our golden pocket from the lows of our impulse from 98.2K, our 98.2K lows up to our all-time highs. And where's that golden pocket coming in at? It's coming in at the bullish backtest of that macro value area high at the bottom of the pitchfork. So for me, if we do see the rejection of this smaller volume profile that we had lost over the weekend, really over Friday and the weekend, then I do think there is some intermittent levels of support along the way down. But really, the next major macro level of support that I would be looking at is this guy here, 108K to about 107.2K. That is going to be your macro value area high, bullish backtest in confluence with your macro golden pocket of the last big impulse up and near the bottom of our pitchfork. Okay, so that's about it. Honestly, guys, for Bitcoin, not too much has happened. We just had a low volume grind to the upside all day long. Very slow, low volume grind to the upside. If you did get into some local long opportunities, good for you. You know, like if you long the bottom of this band, I mean, I definitely would be still holding on to that long trade, at least up to 116.2. I think there's nothing that is going to keep us from getting up there. You can also see we do have a very slight internal liquidity grab after losing the value area low on Thursday. We did see a small bounce and pretty much back tested that value area low. Once we back tested that value area low and rejected, that's when we continued the drop to the downside. So there's some internal highs that are resting into that value area low and golden pocket. And we talk about this a lot, but swing failure patterns, liquidity grabs into golden pockets are great trading opportunities, even if it's kind of a minor SFP, an internal minor SFP. Liquidity does run these markets, so I would be looking for that SFP into that golden pocket. And actually, we can just set the alert on the SFP here. Okay, if we go into our order flow charts here, this is Bitcoin on the 1 hour chart. And if we look at our aggregated open interest, so since July 25th, and I talked about this on I guess it was on the 26th, the day after it happened, we saw this giant pump in open interest. And what was concerning about this pump in open interest is we were seeing a lot of short positions coming in here. And actually, it was the long positions that were coming in. I remember now. So we had a lot of longs that were coming in. Let me clean this up here. As we were starting this push to the upside, you can see that's a massive increase in open interest. And what is open interest? Open interest is just positions opening or closing. So if your open interest is spiking to the upside like this, that means a lot of new positions are opening. And we saw that a lot of those new positions were long positions that were opening overall, long positions that were opening at the lows of the range, which is to be expected on the liquidity grab of the lows of the range. We saw a lot of long positions opening up. We saw that push to the upside, and now you're seeing our open interest ever since that spike that happened on July 25th has been consistently draining out. Like positions have been closing out here. And as positions are closing out, of course, if long positions are closing out, that is a sell, and that's why our CVD is also decreasing here. So it's not necessarily new shorters that are entering the market. It's really a bunch of long positions that are closing out of their positions, taking profit or getting stopped out, that is causing this open interest to drop to the downside, or that's causing our CVD to come to the downside. Now, I will say with this, though, if we look at the larger perspective, if we zoom out and look at our last lows that were made, I guess the last major pullback here that was from July 2nd, you can see on our CVD charts, we are making consistent lower lows in the CVD from that July 2nd area. Consistent lower lows in the CVD. And overall, our price action as of now is making higher lows on the chart. So this is textbook bullish CVD divergence. Now, divergence is not the same thing as absorption. It's not as tradable as an absorption signal. But also, let's go ahead and look at our open interest as well from that July 2nd period. You can see that our open interest did kind of bottom out here on July 2nd. If we just take a vertical ray so that we can be very precise with this, and we throw it right on that July 2nd low, you can see that is also where our open interest bottomed out. Let me make this a bit thinner so you guys can see this. Right here on those lows, you can see that is where our open interest kind of bottomed out last time on those lows. And ever since that higher low in price action, our open interest overall has been increasing. So if we're looking at the larger perspective, we are seeing some bullish CVD absorption on the 1 hour chart from our lows on July 2nd. So for about a month now, we have been creating some bullish CVD absorption. I will warn about this. The bullish CVD absorption on such a high time frame, it generally doesn't play out as well as like lower time frame absorption signals, like, a few days of absorption, whales accumulating and absorbing those shorts for a few days. And what we want to see with absorption is you want to see that constant, steady increase in open interest, showing that there's a constant flow of new positions opening. Those positions, of course, if your CVD is dropping, would be short positions, and you're consistently making higher lows on the chart. That is a nice bullish absorption signal that is very tradable. What we're seeing here now, and I've talked about this many, many times on the channel, when you start to see that open interest kind of steadily rising to the upside, and then you get giant drops in the middle, giant prolonged drops of open interest, not necessarily coming down to the lows and validating it, but seeing giant drops within the middle. Then we get another huge spike, and we're seeing another giant drop, a prolongated drop of open interest. It is not the cleanest signal as that nice, steady increase in open interest that we would want to see here for a really nice signal. So yes, we do have from July 2nd lows, we do have some bullish CVD absorption and even bullish CVD divs. If you don't even want to really count this, technically this is still absorption because our open interest is increasing. It's just not the nicest looking increase. So there is a potential for bulls to put in a higher low and to really start to squeeze this thing to the upside, breaking out to new all-time highs. Now, I did talk about this on the live stream on Friday. We did invalidate that double 1-2 impulse to the upside. With the drop that we saw over the weekend, our double 1-2 impulse that we were looking at, with this being a wave one, wave one, wave two, an internal wave one, and internal wave two. Then you had your big third wave spiking straight to that 1.618. We were looking for two more pushes to the upside in a 4-5, 4-5. If you have 2 1-2s, you're expecting 2 4-5s. But in your third wave, if you pull a Fibonacci from the lows of the third wave to the highs of the third wave, and you hit that golden pocket, then it does invalidate that impulse to the upside. We're no longer looking at those last 2 4-5s to the upside. Now, it doesn't mean that we won't get a bounce, and we did get a bounce from this general area, but we can't be looking at this as a double 1-2 impulse anymore. And because we've hit this golden pocket, invalidating the impulse, this actually does start to look more like a 3-wave corrective move to the upside. An expanded correction where you hit into that 1.618, which is a target in rare cases for an expanded correction. And then after seeing that 3-wave move, generally you do see that bigger drop coming down and at least coming to your macro golden pocket, but sometimes coming out and taking out the lows of the start of the impulse. So it's a bit unclear whether Bitcoin is going to hold and continue to push up because of the bullish absorption that we're seeing. That bullish absorption signal is definitely something we want to keep an eye out on. And it does look pretty strong as far as the consistent drop in CVD against the higher lows in the price action here. The only thing that has got me a little bit concerned is the open interest, these prolonged drops in the open interest. Now, if we go on to our liquidation heat map, let's go on to the Model 3. Let's go to the last 1 month of price action. That's about how long this range has been. That July 2nd low was about a month ago, those July 2nd lows that we just talked about. And if you look here, we've really wiped out, and let's go to the symbol here. This is an aggregated look at that same chart. So 1 month here, you can see if we look at the last 1 month of price action, the liquidity all around us has been wiped out. In the liquidity, the closest liquidity to us is to the upside. It is still above those 120K highs. We have a value area high of our range We have our daily level up there. We have a couple dailies up there, actually. We have a daily at 119.5 and we have a daily at 120, very close together. You can see these dailies. And then we have our pitchfork midline up there. So what I'm looking at as far as Bitcoin, I know this chart looks really messy right now, so let me clean this up just a bit here. If we can get back inside our volume profile, if we can break back inside this volume profile, then I would expect a move up to fill the volume profile, up to the value area high. And if we get up there, that's still our area of rejection, the second area of resistance I talked about in yesterday's video, because if we pull a Fibonacci retracement from the highs of the range to the lows of the range, or to the breakdown of the range, you can see that golden pocket is going to be coming in right around that value area high, right around that daily level and the pitchfork midline, and this cluster of resistance up in this area, I should say. And that's where your liquidity is going to be resting as well. So for me, if we do break back inside the volume profile, I do think we will come hunt that liquidity that is above us. But if we zoom in a little bit, look at just the last week of price action here, let's let this load up. Yeah, we still do have, now this is a bit of a cluster F, because we do have liquidity below us very locally. And it is possible that we do make one more low on Bitcoin, because we did front run the back test of our anchored VWAP. And this anchored VWAP is going to be a key back test that we could see. We also have created a new daily level that is right around 112.5. But if we go back to our liquidation heat map, you can see we do have far more liquidity to the upside locally. And so the big test, all of this to say, the big test is whether we are going to reject trying to re-enter back within our range that we were in for about 3.5 weeks. If we do re-enter, I do think it's a high probability that we could move back up to grab that liquidity. If we reject here, then I do think we are going to drop lower, come grab the liquidity below us first, and possibly even break down to that 108K macro area of support. And we also have a daily down there as well. So you can see bottom of the pitchfork, we have a daily at 108.3. And we have our macro golden pocket. So this area here is the main area of support that I'm looking at entering longs. That's a golden pocket. Daily, and then what else was there? Yeah, pitchfork. Okay, so that is about it for Bitcoin, guys. Let's go ahead and quickly go into some of the altcoins. But before we go into the altcoins, I just want to shout out the partners of the channel. So the first partner of the channel is going to be BYDFI. BYDFI is a VPN-free exchange and a KYC-free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. If you do sign up using my affiliate link for BYDFI, they will give you a minimum of 17% discounts on your trading fees. But you can get higher discounts on trading fees depending on how much you deposit on the exchange. With that initial deposit of $100, you can earn a 50% deposit bonus. So really, really good bonus they're doing right now. If you deposit just $100, you can earn a $50 initial deposit bonus. And also, I have partnered with BYDFI, and we have created a Telegram community where if you do sign up using my affiliate link and deposit that $100, you can get access to a Telegram community where I do post trade setups. I posted a couple setups today and a couple things that I'm looking at, some market analysis today in that Telegram group on some of the altcoins that I'm interested in. And so if you want to get access to that Telegram group, all you need to do is sign up with my affiliate link and deposit the $100. You will get the $50 deposit bonus. You'll get 70% discounts in trading fees. You'll get access to the Telegram group. And in order to get access to the Telegram group, after you deposit the $100 into your account, go into the Telegram. Link is in the description. You have to type in the Telegram /verify and then whatever your user ID is. So this guy right here. So /verify your user ID. It will automatically get you into that Telegram group. After that, it's free to be in there. It's just something that I wanted to do with BYDFI and give a little bit of support to those who support me. So BYDFI is the first partner. Second partner of the channel we have is NAMI. NAMI is a momentum and money flow indicator. I use it for entries and exit confirmations on my trades. Really good money flow and momentum indicator. Partnered with Market Cypher B, I've really nailed down my entries and exits on trades. And for me, it's always price action first. So we map out the key levels of interest and then indicators second. So after I know my levels of interest that I'm looking at potentially taking profit or taking a short position, I will come in here and I will look at my momentum indicator and see if I'm seeing my confirmations to either exit that trade or to enter a new short trade or, whatever. So NAMI, the link is in the description for NAMI, and they have partnered with me to give me a 50% off discount code for anyone who signs up using my affiliate link. You can get 50% off. This is only going to be running for a limited time, so if you're interested, I recommend you take advantage of that discount code. The discount code is Divine50, and it's also in the descriptions if you guys forget about that. Next up is MEXC. MEXC is offering a 20% initial deposit bonus. If you deposit $100, you'll get $20 free. And they're offering up to $300 in futures trading bonuses just for trading futures using MEXC. Link is in the description for them as well. And then lastly, we have Bybit. Bybit is one of the largest derivatives exchanges in the world. To me, they're one of the most reputable exchanges in the world. Yes, they did get hacked, but they've proven their worth through that hack, that they actually have their assets back one-to-one. They were able to really get past a tough situation. And if I could personally be trading on Bybit, I would be. I can't because of restrictions in location. But Bybit is another sponsor of the channel that if you guys want to sign up using Bybit, the link is in the description as well there. Okay, on to the TA here. Let's go on to Ethereum. So Ethereum is getting a really, really nice rise today. And one of the things that I did talk about the past couple of weeks here on Ethereum, I was overall bullish on Ethereum, expecting a move up to the top of the pitchfork to that 1.618 around 45.34. And even before this happened, I said that if we do reject from this general area, this range that we were forming up here, we could see a drop even all the way back down to backtest the bottom of the band in confluence with our macro value area high, our 4-year long range value area high. Let me zoom out to the daily chart. That 4-year long range value area high that was coming in right around 34.40 to 34.20. And we could still, even with this back test, still maintain bullish momentum and continue pushing up to 45.34. So we did get that drop. We did back test that area of support. Generally, we did wick a little bit past it, but you can see here, we're bouncing from the bottom of our pitchfork band. We're bouncing from the bullish back test of our macro 4-year long range breakout. And if we can get back above some local resistances, I posted about this today earlier in the Discord. There is a couple local resistances that we need to be watching now, and I actually just TP'd on my long position. So we'll go into these local resistances, but if we can get above those, then I do think we will see that move up to 45.34. If we reject from these areas, then we might fall back inside this volume profile. We might see all of this as a sort of failed auction breakout, just like we saw up in this area, and then we might continue dropping a lot further. So actually, let's just look at this fractal real quick. So the last time we broke above this volume profile, you can see we formed a bit of a range. We made a couple new highs on the charts, got the initial drop. We retraced to the local golden pocket, rejected that golden pocket, fell back inside that volume profile, back tested it, and then saw the giant drop. So we could see something very, very similar. Let's actually pull our bars pattern. You could see something very, very similar to this happen, and we'll just go to here, the big drop. Right now, where we're forming a bit of a range, we get that initial drop. Now, this drop wasn't quite as far, but we'll shorten this up a bit here. You can see that we got that initial drop. If we retrace back up to the golden pocket, let me get this a little bit larger for you guys so you can see this. If we do retrace back up to that golden pocket and reject, then there is a possibility we can fall back underneath that volume profile, back test it, and then see a larger drop. So that is something that I'll be watching for, and we are coming up to our local golden pocket right now. Before we go zoom in onto lower time frames, I do want to point out the money flow on the daily is rising again, and we did get that green dot on the daily. So overall, our bullish momentum, remember, we talked about this even seeing a back test of this area would still be a bullish sign, and as long as we don't lose that, our money flow had been consistently rising on the daily time frame up into the green, higher and higher, and it could signal that larger push up to 45.34 or even to breakouts to new all-time highs eventually. So now let's zoom in onto the 2-hour chart. Let's just look at this range that we've been in for about a month now. July 17th, so not quite. It's about 3 weeks on Ethereum. It's about a week less than Bitcoin. But you can see this range. We, first of all, did finally come take out our range lows. These range lows we were looking at, and even our little dead cat lows that were down here at the bottom. We actually had these highlighted, these dead cat lows. We took those out, and now we are pushing back above our pitchfork band, above the macro value area high, and we have re-entered back. Now, this is what we want to see Bitcoin do, but Ethereum has done it already. We want to re-enter back within our volume profile. Now, I gave a couple earlier today in the Discord or in the Telegram. I gave a couple of resistance areas, and I was long from in this general area down here. And my first TP level was exactly at 37.34. And it was because it's our golden pocket. If we pull a golden pocket from the highs of the range to the lows of the range, you can see that golden pocket retrace, which is often when you see some impulsive price action to the downside, the lower high golden pocket is often a rejection for another lower high to come in before dropping to the downside. So, and it was in pretty close confluence with our point of control of our range. Since we broke back above the value area low, breaking back within that range, it is reasonable that we would have pumped to backtest the fair value. Well, with our golden pocket being in such close confluence with that point of control, I expected to move up to 37.34. And I did take out actually 75% of my long position here. I am still holding some. And then the next area of resistance that I was interested in, that same Fibonacci pull from the highs of the range to the lows of the range, you can see that the 786 Fibonacci, which oftentimes altcoins do retrace a little bit further than Bitcoin, they'll retrace to the 786 rather than the golden pocket. You can see that 786 is coming in at the value area high of the range. So for me, if we do, we've broken back inside this volume profile. So the fact that we've re-entered back inside the volume profile means that we could fill the volume profile. Yes, we could see a rejection here. What I'm going to be looking at locally right now, because you can see we're above our pitchfork band as well. Bounce from the bottom of the band. We've just today reclaimed the top of the band or broke above the top of the band. So we are seeing a bit of a rejection right now on Ethereum. If we do come down and backtest the band here, which is going to be coming in around 36.61, if we can hold that locally and then push above this POC, I expect to move at least up to 38.14, up to like that 38.14 to 38.20 level, where you can see the 786 is in confluence with the value area high. Now, if we break above that area, I think that we're going to see a much larger impulse continuing up to 45.34. So local areas of resistance are as follows. We're at one right now. We're starting to see a little bit of a rejection right now. It is important to let you guys know I have not shorted this yet. So I took out 75% of my long position, but I have not shorted here yet. I want to see a little bit more here. If we zoom in onto the 15-minute chart, we are seeing some pretty big 15-minute bull divs here. So higher highs in the price action coming up to finally hit that golden pocket. Lower highs in the momentum waves here. You can see even a local drive of 15-minute bear div and then a more regional drive 15-minute bear div. But until just very, very recently, our money flow was very bullish. And with that bullish money flow, it is going to overpower a single drive of bear divs. So I have not entered based off of the money flow. If we look at NAMI, though, and NAMI, this is where NAMI really comes in key for us, guys. You can see NAMI's been making these bear divs all day as well. Higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves. But the money flow bear divs on NAMI are what you really want to pay attention to. And if we look at the money flow on NAMI on the 15-minute chart, we have now confirmed bear divs on the money flow here. And we are finally starting to reject from that golden pocket. So if I was paying attention to this 30 minutes ago, I might have looked for a short position. I actually probably would have entered a short position upon losing this 618 golden pocket and put my stops probably above the point of control. Now, if you're still interested in looking for a short, you could short where we're at now. Stop would go, for me, it would personally go above the point of control. And I would be targeting the value area low of the range. That's a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. For me, that's not quite good enough. It is acceptable. You're risking $1 to make $2, or for every $1 you risk, you're going to make $2, or like $2.09. But we are seeing a little bit of a rejection from our area resistance. I highlighted this today earlier in the Telegram group before we even broke up into the volume profile. So yeah, a little bit of rejection. I'm going to be watching personally. You can see earlier today, I also talked about this, posted about this in the Telegram group earlier today. We broke up and we hit the 618 of the golden pocket. And then we saw that small retrace back down to bullishly backtest the upper band. The second we backtested this upper band and started bouncing, I said, guys, it's a very high likelihood we continue up to 37.34. And if you guys want to check that, you can go into the Telegram. I have my own channel in that Telegram group. I did post about that in the channel, and we are seeing that push up. Actually, I think I posted about that one in market analysis channel. But yes, Ethereum is getting a rejection from our golden pocket POC confluence. If we start to lose the lower part of the pitchfork band, or the pitchfork band line at 36.62, then I expect to move at least to backtest this value area low at 35.89. And if we lose that, honestly, like, it's not going to look good for Ethereum. We're probably going to make another lower low on the chart. I am also going to be looking for continued bearish divs to form as we're making this increase here. If we continue to see bearish divs form on like the 30-minute chart and under, making consistent higher highs up into that value area high, I will look for that. And by that time, we should see some 1 hour bear divs as well. I would like to see some 1 hour bear divs. You can see our money flow. This is another reason why I didn't short this golden pocket, is because the money flow on the hourly looked very, very strong. And it still looks really strong, but it is starting to top out here. And I would like to see some bear divs. You can see Nami's already confirmed the 1 hour bear divs, and it's already confirmed money flow bear divs here. So we might actually get a bit of a rejection from this golden pocket. But if we can get back above the golden pocket and continue, at least on Market Cypher B, to create some 1 hour bear divs here, making higher highs here up into this value area high, seeing those continued bear divs form and money flow now starting to drain out of the asset on the hourly chart, I will look for a short at that 786, 38.14 to 38.20. That is about it for Ethereum, though, guys. Overall, larger time frame, I still have to remain with my bullish bias because we did bounce from the macro value area high in confluence with the bottom of the pitchfork band. And I say this a lot on the channel, guys, but we oftentimes form ranges at and around these pitchfork band levels. You can see if you go zoom in earlier on this impulse, we formed for a couple of weeks. Now, this was a very, very clean range inside the band. But oftentimes those ranges around the levels, you can see here, this range that we formed around the midline, it wasn't exactly perfect. And the range that we're forming up here is not exactly perfect around the bands. We're inside the bands, but it's around that band area. So we expect those around these major pitchfork levels, we do expect consolidation and ranges to form. And if it's going to maintain its bullish momentum, then we do have to say we're probably going to come to the top of the pitchfork, 45.34. Okay, that is it for Ethereum. Now, let's go on to Solana. Solana is seeing its bounce from, now this was a box that we've had highlighted on the chart for a couple weeks before this drop. We were looking at a couple levels. Yes, we did have a level that was at 166, or 164, excuse me. Let me zoom out to the hourly, actually. At this anchored VWAP at 164, we did have a box of support here into that anchored VWAP. We didn't. We tried to see a bounce from there. We dropped. We continued dropping to our next box of support, which was the anchored VWAP in confluence with our larger golden pocket. Let's zoom out to the 4-hour chart. So if we pull a golden pocket from the lows of the impulse to the highs of the impulse, you can see that golden pocket retracement coming in at 156.4 was in confluence with our anchored VWAP from the lows of our, like our $100 lows or our $96 lows. So if we want to maintain overall bullish momentum on Solana, we want to see us maintain above this anchored VWAP and really even maintain above the anchored VWAP from our previous all-time high, which we are now back above, by the way. It was also near the bottom of our descending channel. Let me clean this chart up here for you guys real quick. Let's hide some of this local TA. So it was also near the bottom of our descending channel. We've been following this descending channel based off of our two lower highs and our initial low. Came in, saw a small deviation of the bottom of the channel to hit that golden pocket and then re-enter the channel. And now we are fighting with our channel midline. We're also, let me pull this volume profile to current day price action. We are also on a larger time frame back underneath our value area high of our more macro range. So this range, I've talked about this range over and over on the channel, so it shouldn't be a surprise to you, but this range goes back to the March 2024 highs. We've been in this range for about 18 months now, a year and a half. And you can see we attempted that breakout of the value area high. We fell back inside that volume profile. And what happened on the daily? You fell back inside of it. You came up for a bearish backtest. You confirmed the rejection. And that's when you saw the big waterfall down to the golden pocket. But if we are looking at Solana as overall maintaining its bullish trend and even potentially seeing a big double 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then a huge third wave here, in a much bigger double 1-2 impulse, then that golden pocket is the area you're going to want to hold. And it's also your anchored VWAP. That's the area you're going to want to hold. We also had a naked daily point of control that was a support in this general area. So we are bouncing from our support level, and we are starting to see some nice price action to the upside. I will say this, we are underneath the macro value area high. So in some ways, we do have to consider this bearish, that we have re-entered back inside our volume profile. But if you want to put your bull glasses on, we now could be looking at a much larger impulse starting in the making. And with these double 1-2 impulses, you have your first initial wave 1 to the upside. You have your wave 2 that oftentimes retraces to your golden pocket. And then you'll get an internal wave 1 that is usually smaller than your original wave 1 and shorter in time than your original wave 1. Well, we got that. And then your wave 2 is an internal retrace to the golden pocket of that internal wave 1. So it does look like this could be a double 1-2, but if this is a double 1-2, then we want to see that third wave starting to come in soon here. And of course, within that third wave, you'll see a 5-wave impulse within itself. So you will see small pullbacks within that third wave, but we want to see volume starting to kick into the upside very, very quickly. Now, if we look at Market Cipher B, we did get the green dot on the daily. Our momentum wave bottomed on the daily, and our money flow is rising to the upside, suggesting that we could see a bigger breakout of a double 1-2 breakout to the upside. For me, the key thing to see in order to start to look at this as a double 1-2 possibly in the making is a break above this value area high at about $189. $189 value area high, because if we do come up to that area and reject, then to me, it's confirming that we have absolutely re-entered back within the volume profile and that there's a high probability that we could fall to the point of control at $145. If we pull, let's get rid of this golden pocket here. And if we look, let's now zoom in on some lower time frames. We'll go on to the hourly chart. You can see that we're just fighting with the channel midline. Like earlier today, we did reject. We saw a small rejection from the channel midline, came down to the VWAP, bounced from the VWAP, and now we're trying to get above that midline. So that is a good sign that we are getting above that midline. If we get above that midline, we can expect a move to the top of the channel. And that is going to be around 100, depending on time, 178 to about $175, 175.5. And if we pull our golden pocket retracement from the highs of the dump to the lows of the dump, then you can see our major macro lower high golden pocket is coming in right around the bearish backtest of our macro value area high. So like I just said a couple minutes ago, the main area of resistance that we really want to see Solana break out above is that $189 level. It's really like 187 to 189. This is your key resistance above us, where if we can break above this resistance, we could see a much bigger push to the upside, a much, much bigger push to the upside. If we do come up to that area and reject from that area, then I do think we could drop all the way down to 145K. So let's just macro value area high. But our money flow on the hourly looks very strong still. Unlike Ethereum, it is still rising consistently. Ethereum is starting to top out. Yes, we are starting to confirm some bearish divs here. You can see lower highs in the momentum waves, higher highs in the price action. Same with NAMI here. And if we zoom out onto the 4-hour chart, we are actually, it looks like now our money flow was about to cross over into the to the green here, but it's starting to roll over on the 4 hour on Market Cipher B. This is not a good sign to be seeing. I really want to see this continue pushing up into the green here. For NAMI, you can see NAMI's money flow is consistently pushing strongly up on the 4 hour chart. We did print a hidden bear div earlier today, but that gave us a very small pullback before continuing to push up. So I think that Solana does have a high chance of pushing up. Now, in a very bearish case scenario, let's talk about the very bearish case scenario where we don't even come up to $188 to backtest that. You can see right now, this does look like a three-wave corrective move down. It could be over, and we could be about to impulse to the upside, even breaking above 189K. But in a bearish case scenario, we're looking at a 5-wave impulse to the downside. So we're looking at that being a wave 1, a wave 2, wave 3. If we're going to see a wave 4 retrace before seeing another lower low down to $145 to complete your 5-wave impulse to the downside, then the areas of rejection, first of all, let's pull a trend-based Fibonacci from the highs of your potential wave 1 to the lows of your potential wave 1 to the highs of your potential wave 2. We turn on that 1.618 target. We didn't quite make it down to that 1.618 target. So for me, that's a sign that it might not be impulsive. Generally, you in your wave 3, you do make it at least minimum to that 1.618. It's not required, but it is highly likely that your third wave does push to that level. If we turn on our ABC target zone, you can see we also did bust a little bit past our most common targets for the ABC correction, being between the 1-to-1 and that 1.236. So a little bit of confusion here as far as, let's actually turn on our 1.382. Where is that? Let's just do this. Yeah, we bounced from our 1.382. So, and that is in an expanded correction. That 1.382 does, it is not an uncommon area for a bounce, but it's not an invalidation. So we bounced from that 1.382. That means that this could be a 3-wave corrective move to the downside. And now that correction is over and we are about to start impulsing to the upside again. I am a little bit wary on this, but I will be looking at it because it is a count that we can look at as far as Elliott waves. So for me, the 189K area of resistance, and then if we also pull a golden pocket from our lower high of that second pivot of the channel down to the lows, and I'm just going to turn on our wave 4 targets. If we're looking at that impulse to the downside that I just talked about. Now, it's not the highest probability because we did not hit the 1.618 below us. But if it is going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then the area to reject would be between the 0.382 and the 0.5. So you can see that 0.5 is coming in around 175.5. And that is going to be in confluence. If we pull our volume profile of this upper like head and shoulders range that broke down, you can see the value area low of that range is going to be at that 0.5. It's also going to be right around the top of the channel, depending on how long it takes us. If we shoot straight up, the channel will be a little bit higher. But we're probably going to see a small rejection here, back test, something like that. So if we do come up to that 175.5 and start to reject, then I possibly would be looking for a potential short there to bring down at least to that $145 level of support, 145.6. That is a count that I still will be following. As a trader, we follow both bearish and bullish counts. And so that is our most bearish count, is that this is a 5-wave impulse to the downside, and we're going to reject from the bearish backtest of our range value area low in confluence with that wave 4 target, and then drop to make new lows. So actually, let's just go ahead and come up here. We'll set an alert a little bit before that level. Add alert. Okay. Wave 4 short opportunity. There we go. But that's about it for Solana, guys. As far as the bigger time frames goes, we are below the macro value area high of the range, and I want to see us reclaim that relatively soon here if we are going to see the bigger bullish scenario play out of a double 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and a giant third wave up, we want to see us break above that macro value area high pretty quickly here within the next couple of days, probably sometime this week. Okay, that is it for Solana. Let's go on to SUI. Now, guys, SUI did come down to our level of support that we talked about as well. We had this highlighted in the live streams before, and also we had this highlighted for the past couple of weeks. If you go back and watch some of the YouTube videos, we were watching that 347 level, which was the POC of the range, but we had our liquidity grab of the lows of the range into your anchored VWAP. And this was a box that we had marked out prior on the chart, a box of support that we had marked out prior on the chart. And because we did reject, let me get, yeah, that's a current price action. We are seeing that liquidity grab of the range lows. And you can see we are pushing not only back above your macro value, POC, your macro point of control, but we're also pushing back up above the micro range, our top upper range value area low. So we're pushing back up into the volume profile. Now, because we are making it back up inside this volume profile, this local volume profile on the daily, let's zoom in here onto the 4-hour chart, bouncing, grabbing liquidity from the lows of the range, re-entering back within the volume profile, we can expect a move potentially up to the point of control of that range. Well, where is the point of control of that range coming in? It's coming in at the exact level of your golden pocket. If you take a golden pocket from the highs of the range to the lows of the range, you can see that golden pocket retrace is coming in perfect confluence with your point of control. Not only that, we do have a liquidity grab of the lower high internal liquidity into a golden pocket. And I say this often on the channel. I said it earlier in the video. A liquidity grab into a golden pocket is always a setup you should be watching. So that is an area of resistance that I'll be looking at on the charts. Now, this purple box, I actually would like to move this down into this area now. That is the area of resistance that I'm going to be watching for. And I am actually long on SUI and looking for a TP up in that area. Actually, I have a TP limit set for 399 already. And I will be pulling 75% out of the position. But that's for larger time frames, guys, on SUI. It's a bit discouraging to see us fall back inside this channel. And I talked about this on Friday's stream. Because we're falling back in the channel, we do need to watch for rejection from the back test of the channel and continue falling price action here. So we might not even make it up to that golden pocket. If we're going to reject, let's zoom back in onto the 2-hour chart, and let me get rid of this Scrabble. If we are going to reject from the back test, the bearish back test of the channel after re-entering back with inside it, let's pull that Fibonacci. Yeah, your 382 is very close by to that. And your 382 is going to act as support resistance in a strong trend. And that's also going to be, so if now that we're back inside the channel, if we can come up, reject from that area, then we should see continued momentum to the downside. So key levels to be watching, watch that 371.5, 382 Fibonacci retrace. If we do reject from that and around that area from like 369 to 371, then we might continue dropping on SUI. But locally, very, very locally, money flows just crossing over into the green on the 2-hour. It looks good on NAMI on the 2-hour. Yes, we are showing some bear divs, but that money flow is always going to overpower those bear divs on NAMI. And since we are back inside the volume profile, the major levels that I'm going to be watching locally between 369 and 371. And if we can get above that, then I expect to move up to the golden pocket. 369 to 371. If we break above 371, I expect to move up to 399 to 402, really 403. That is about it for SUI. Going on to SAY. Guys, SAY, I would like to talk about SAY on some larger time frames because we did reject from that macro log golden pocket right at 38 cents. And it was also the top of our upper pitchfork band. Now, since we've rejected from that area, you can see that we have, let me hide some of this stuff locally. Since we rejected from that upper band, and it was also our macro log golden pocket, we can pull that real quick from the highs, our last huge daily highs down to our daily lows. Let's turn on our golden pocket, and we're going to turn it on log scale because it's more than a 30% drop to the downside. you can see that where did we reject? Right at 38 cents, which was your macro golden pocket in confluence with the top of the pitchfork band. So we were expecting a major rejection from that area, or at least a decent rejection. Now we've got that rejection, and so far the move down that we've seen does look pretty much three-wave corrective. It looks like a three-wave corrective move on the daily time frame. Even if we zoom in here, let's go onto the 4-hour time frame. You can see this move does look far more three-wave zigzag corrective than impulsive to the downside. And if we're looking at this being a three-wave corrective move, we already have the Fibonacci extinction pulled here, but you're going to take your Fibonacci extinction from the highs of wave, the highs to the lows to the lower highs here. You can see that we hit right in that box of support between the 1-to-1 and the 1.236. That's your most common area for support. If you're going to see an ABC corrective target, that's your most common area of support. We're bouncing from that area of support, and we're starting to push up pretty nicely here on SAY. Like SAY has been one of the stronger tokens today in the market. We are coming up to backtest these lows of the range, so we need to be aware. You can look at like this low that we're at right now. We're kind of backtesting, or I would even say the better low is these range lows in here. You can see their general area of what was support now potentially being flipped into resistance. But SAY to me is looking pretty bullish here, and there's a couple areas that I'm looking at. I'm also long on SAY. I'm long on the reclaim of this 1-to-1 at 27.64. And for SAY, for me, the first area, TP area that I'm looking at, I'm going to turn on that local TA that I just had on the chart. So if you pull a golden pocket from the highs of the drop to the lows of the drop, this three-wave corrective move, if we pull a macro golden pocket of this three-wave corrective move, our macro golden pocket is coming in right at the value area high of this range, of this bigger range. You can see also our pitchfork band is coming in there. The bottom of the pitchfork band is coming in there. So this will be a definite TP area for me, is the value area high in confluence with that golden pocket and that pitchfork band. And then the level before that where I will take some profit out if we do reject is if we pull a golden pocket from our pretty much our last C wave down. If we're looking at this as an A, B, C, and we're going to start to push back up again, two areas of local resistance where I'll just be happy taking some profit off this scalp long is if we pull a golden pocket from the highs, the start of wave C to the end of wave C. You can see that golden pocket is coming in right at about $32 cents to $32.25. And we do have a very key internal liquidity grab right into that 0.65 of the golden pocket. And for the third time in this video, anytime you see a liquidity grab into a golden pocket, pay attention to that setup. So I will take some profit at this area if I do see a confirmed swing failure pattern. If I do not see the confirmed swing failure pattern, I do not plan to pull any out, and I will wait to the next level of resistance, where at this level, I will absolutely pull at least 50% out of the position. But other than that, yeah, we're seeing a nice bounce on SAY. We're still in its more macro range. This range goes back to June 23rd. So little, going on a month and a half here. And it's really all the price action since we've reclaimed our major pitchfork midline. Reclaimed the pitchfork midline, back tested that pitchfork midline, came to the upper band. Now that we've lost the upper band, we can just look at this as one giant range here. And so this is our area of interest that we need to be paying attention to, and we're above the POC of the range, so we might expect to move up to the value area high of the range. As far as our money flow goes, it's crossing into the green now on the 4-hour on Market Cipher B, and on NAMI, it looks very, very strong on the 4-hour, pushing into the green. Yes, we are seeing a hidden bear div that printed earlier today, but it didn't really play out much, which is very uncommon for NAMI to print a hidden bear div signal that doesn't play out. But if it's happening now, and I think part of the reason why is our money flow is just so strong here. Look at on the 1-hour chart for Market Cipher B, money flow looks very, very nice and strong. Yes, we are starting to see some of those bear divs kick in on the hourly chart. Both NAMI and Market Cipher B are showing bear divs, and NAMI is even starting to show bear divs on the money flow. But we are not at resistance yet. We haven't quite made it up there. So what I expect, especially because Market Cipher B's money flow looks so good, I expect this slow kind of zigzag grind continuing, that exhaustion you see towards the end of these moves, that rising channel. And I want to see us hit into that, at least that golden pocket at 32 cents. And if we do reject from there and money flow is topping out and we continue to see bearish divs coming in, I will not only take profit out there, but I will potentially look for a short. That's it for say. Let's now go on to XRP. XRP here. XRP's getting a pretty nice bounce today too. Now, guys, over the past couple of weeks here on XRP, I've been talking about one major level that I'm looking for a potential swing long opportunity on. And if you go back and watch my live streams from last week, you go back and watch my live streams from 2 weeks ago, the level of interest that I was talking about. Let's zoom out to the daily chart. Give me just a second here, guys. Okay, so our level of interest that we were talking about the retrace to, our major support level, was that 278 level of support. Because we were looking at our larger impulse to the upside, bouncing from the macro log 382, we had our impulse up to the highs of the descending channel, and it was also the value area high of our range. Now, the value area highs now moved a little bit higher, but back then the value area high, if we pull that back to that level, you can see the value area high was in that area. So we rejected value area high, rejected the top of the descending channel, and then we saw a move to our golden pocket, making a higher low. Wave 1, wave 2, our wave 3 pushed us all the way up to the 1.618, and we rejected perfectly from that 1.618. I gave you guys that rejection level before it happened as well. We went over it in live streams, and we went over it on the videos before. We did reject from that area of resistance, and so now if we're looking at a wave 3 or a wave 4, seeing our bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete this impulse to the upside, even making new all-time highs, we want to bounce between the 0.382 and the 0.5 Fibonacci of your wave 3. So going from the lows of wave 3 to the highs of wave 3, you pull those wave 4 targets, and it's between the 382 and the 0.5. Now, earlier last week, we were bouncing from the 382, and I said I want to see a move up to the golden pocket before coming down to the 0.5. If you guys don't believe me, go watch the videos from Friday the 25th of the live streams, from Thursday, Friday the 24th to 25th. But also, if you watch the video from last Wednesday, July 30th, we talked about this. We did see that move up to that lower high golden pocket. We did reject from that area. Actually, that's not, hold on, that golden pocket is our macro golden pocket. We did see a lower high come in, and then we did finally come down and see that. And remember, we were talking about we wanted to see more time pass because this was a 39-day drop to the downside. So we wanted to see at least somewhat of confluence time-wise there. So we were looking for more downside to actually hit that 0.5. We finally saw that 3-wave corrective move coming down, hitting that 0.5, and we are seeing a strong bounce from that 0.5. You can also see that the value area high of our range is now pushed up to about 270, 270.6. And so we are bouncing. We're seeing some nice impulse of maybe the start of an impulse up here in our wave 5. If our wave 4 is done, we're going to be looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete your overall 5th wave of the bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I am bullish on XRP still because we haven't hit the invalidation like we did with Bitcoin. If we would have came down and hit this level, we would have invalidated it, but we did not come down and hit that level. Actually, it's not that. Yeah, it is that golden pocket at 258. We would have invalidated it, but we did not come down and hit that golden pocket. We're bouncing. And because it was a 3-wave corrective zigzag move down, it does look very corrective to me, and money flow is rising on the daily time frame. We did see that momentum wave bottom out in a green dot, and I do think we can at least start to push up here. So I am long on XRP as well on my smaller account. It's not a large position at all. I wasn't very confident, but I did take it, and I'm in at like 282, something like that, 283, close in this area. And my first TP would be this lower high golden pocket. So if we pull a golden pocket, let's zoom in now onto the 4-hour chart. If we pull a golden pocket from the highs of our correction to the lows of our correction, and that's this golden pocket. So you can see from the highs of the correction to the lows of the correction, you can see that our golden pocket And this has been a theme throughout the entire video today. Internal liquidity grab of our lower high, an internal SFP into a golden pocket. So this will be a TP1 for me if we come up to this area and we see the confirmed swing failure pattern. So what that means is we wick, we break, take that liquidity out, and ultimately reject from that golden pocket. I will take out at least 50, probably 75% of the long position. And if we do see a retrace, I will look to re-add. And because we are potentially looking for a 5-wave move up in a wave 5, remember, guys, we're looking for one more push up to make new all-time highs. Inside your larger 5th wave, you're looking for a sub count of a 5-wave. Now, if we're looking for that, if we come up in our wave 1 of our sub count of our 5th wave up to this golden pocket and we reject, I will take profit here, but I will look to re-add on the retrace to our golden pocket. So in that case, you would pull a golden pocket from the lows of the move up to that golden pocket rejection. Now, this is a theoretical fib right now because this is not based off reality right now. But if we do come up to that area reject, then I would be looking down to this general area here to add to that long position for the bigger, wave 3, 4, 5 to finish your bigger wave 5. That's about it for XRP. I mean, we do have, if we zoom out onto the daily chart, we do have a daily level that's a little bit before that. That daily level is coming in around 324. And also, if we look at our naked weekly point of control, okay, no, not, it was a naked daily point of control. Let's go to that. Yeah, naked daily point of control is a little bit just above us here. That is, I'm not so much paying attention to the naked daily point of control, although we could see a small pullback from that area. I'm really looking up to that golden pocket, and the daily is just before that golden pocket, so we'll pay attention to that daily as well. Not too concerned about the daily. I like the golden pocket in confluence with the liquidity grab better. Let's just say that. I'll just put this on the chart though. Okay, that is about it for XRP. Overall, bullishness is, I'm more leaning bullish, just like with Solana. I'm leaning a little bit more bullish. Or not Solana, Ethereum, excuse me. Okay, lastly, let's go into Chainlink. Chainlink, guys, we did get a rejection from the macro value area high. You can see this is our lower accumulation range, or really our range that goes back to November of 2023, our upper range here. Came up, we did reject from the value area high, but we front run it just barely. We didn't quite touch it. You can see where that high is at 20.284. We didn't quite hit that value area high. Now, on Chainlink, the move down does look a little bit impulsive to me. And if we look at this move down that we've seen on the daily time frame, if we pull a trend-based Fibonacci from the highs of wave 1 to the lows of wave 1 to the highs of wave 2, we didn't quite make it down to that 1.618, but we bounced once again from that through 1.382. 1.382. Now, that is an uncommon target in an ABC correction, but we front ran some key support that's just below us that I would have liked us to come down to hit. We had that naked weekly point of control that was in confluence with a daily level at like 15.2 to 15.1 and didn't quite make it down there. So I am looking for a potential, the bearish case scenario, we're still looking at a 5-wave move down and hitting into that daily at 15.1. If we are looking at a 5-wave move down, then let's zoom in on the 4-hour chart. This is our bearish scenario. Remember, this is our bearish scenario. We look at both the bearish and the bullish scenarios. So we'll pull a Fibonacci from the highs of 3 to the lows of 3. And between the 0.382 and the 0.5 is where you're going to want to see that rejection. Well, we're fighting with the 0.382 right now, trying to get above it. So if we come up to like 17.5 and reject from that general area, then I would expect a move down to at least come hit our daily and our naked weekly point of control between 15.2 and 15.1. And then if this is the case, though, guys, if we do see a 5-wave impulse to start this move down, then I would be looking for a bigger ABC correction that would last a bit longer with your A wave coming down, seeing a 5-wave impulse in a wave A. You'd then look for a retrace up to that golden pocket 786 area in a wave B, and then a wave C potentially down to our macro support at $15, which is our real nice level of support, being the macro POC of the range. Because remember, if you reject from value area high, you have a probability to move down to backtest the fair value. You reject from overvalued. Now the market will drop the price to fair value again to see if it will bounce. And so there is a potential that over the next few weeks, we see a 3-wave zigzag corrective move on larger time frames to come down to like 14.5 to 14.2, where we have the golden pocket of this entire impulse up in confluence with our macro point of control. And we also have a naked weekly point of control there. But locally, we are seeing a nice bounce so far on Chainlink. A lot of these coins are getting nice bounces, but what's concerning for me is as we're moving up, yes, it's a steady grind, steady, slow grind to the upside. Volume doesn't look the best here. You want to see volume really starting to kick in, and the only one that I see that on is Say. Say is looking really good, impulsive right now. XRP looks okay as well, but a lot of these coins we're really not seeing a strong move to the upside. So just be aware that we could be putting in a lower high before making a lower low. Money flow does look good though on the 2-hour, attempting to cross over into the green. You can see just actually with this 2-hour close, we're crossing back into the red. And then if we go on to the 15-minute chart, you can see those bear divs that are developing. And the thing is with Chainlink, not only the bear divs have been developing all day, but unlike Ethereum and unlike Bitcoin, our money flow, see the lower lows in the lower highs in the momentum waves, higher highs in the price action. So that's a bear div as far as momentum goes. But our money flow has been consistently draining out of the asset as we are coming higher in this channel here. Like we're forming this rising channel to the upside. So to me, this is a telltale sign that this is a corrective move to the upside. You're moving to the upside with low volume. You're making consistent bear divs on the chart, but most importantly, your money flow is draining out of the asset as we're making this rise. So for me, it's a little bit of a bearish sign, and actually it does give me a bit of a bias that Chainlink might have one more move to the downside. So in that case, I'm going to be looking for that rejection around 17.49. Now, because our impulse down did not hit the 1.618, and it's still a decent probability in our bullish scenario that this was a 3-wave corrective move and we're done, and now we're going to start to push up. I'm not going to ignore our bear divs that we're seeing with money flow leaving the asset, but if we do not reject from this area, then I will just keep looking at the next resistances on the chart. We will just keep mapping out the next resistances. You pull out your volume profile, we'll measure this upper range that kind of broke down here. The back test of the value area low of that range is going to be right where that 0.5 is. So remember, we are looking for, now that we've lost this range, you're looking for the bearish back test to confirm whether we're going to see more downside. Well, that bearish back test happens to be right at our 0.5 target, where you would expect to see a rejection in a 5-wave move down as well. So that's the first area of resistance that I'll be looking at potentially taking a short. But if we pull a golden pocket from the highs of the range to the breakdown that we saw over the weekend, and we turn on that golden pocket. Okay, golden pocket doesn't really have nice confluence. I guess it's now going to be our 786 level. That 786 is going to be in confluence with the value area high of that range. And that would be the area where I'd really be looking for, if we can break above this 0.5, then I would expect us to fill this volume profile and come all the way up. So yes, we might see a small rejection at the POC, but I would really expect us to come up to that value area high. Let's zoom out onto the daily chart. And yeah, and our daily's right there as well. We have a daily level that's up there as well. So you can see a daily. Let's zoom back in onto the 1-hour chart. That is definitely going to be our area resistance, 19.2, 19.24, 19.245, value area high. Actually, we could just do this here. That would be the area. If we break above the 0.5 at 17.5, then yes, we might see some bouncing around within this range, maybe a small rejection on the takeout of this liquidity. But ultimately, I would expect this to move up to 19.245. And That would be a resistance level that we could see after breaking back inside the volume profile, back testing that volume profile, maybe come up to POC reject, back test anchored VWAP, work our way up to this area. If we do see a rejection from there, that could be our area where we really start to dump. So we would fill the volume profile. That's about it, guys, for today. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did get something out of this video, please like the channel. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I will be doing a live stream tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come join me if you guys want to get some live trading analysis, and we can go over some of the altcoins you guys request. It's a good time. So I hope to see you there tomorrow, and have a good day.